Okay, folks, it's 6:30 on Monday night, April the 10th, and so I will call this meeting to order, the regular meeting of the Select Board, and welcome everyone in the room. It's nice to see you all, and the folks that are online, it's nice to see you all as well. Everyone's names are properly displayed, so we're good. Tonight online, we have three Select Board members. Tara's online, Veranda's online, and Rusty's online. So Michael and I are here in the room. So at this point, we would, are you ready to read the rules of procedure, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Read those real quickly.
Sure. The Select Board has adopted a set of rules and procedures for its operations. The rules of procedure for meeting have now been shared with all committees and commissions. They are no longer the Select Board rules of procedure. They are for all public body meetings. They are here in the chat online and published on the town website. These rules request that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Tonight, individuals will have a reasonable time to comment on proposed actions to inform the Select Board's decision-making process. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be heard, not responded to. There will be no exchange between the Select Board and a commenter. No questions will be answered. Any questions raised will be recorded and responded to in a timely manner. Additionally, on every chair and in the chat online, there is some basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community comment portion of the meeting, how to get on the agenda, and how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
You're live, yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
We're on Zoom now.
So we request that everyone that's online mute yourself if you're not already muted. We can hear background noise. Okay, I've been informed by Veranda that there's no one who is prepared to make a statement this evening in the welcoming of public, the community comment period. So I just open it up quickly and see if there's anybody who has anything they want to say, otherwise we can move along. All right, I think we'll move ahead then. Thank you, Veranda. We'll stay in touch about that for the next meeting. Thanks, Veranda. All right, the next item on the agenda is changes to the agenda order, and I'm not aware of any changes. Those need to be made here at the beginning of the meeting. If we have any, I'm not aware of any. We will then move on to approval of the minutes, and we need to look at the minutes of March 27th. So do I have, let's get them on the table first. Do I have a motion to move those?
I so move.
Thank you, Brett. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Rusty. At the Select Board level, was there any comment about the minutes? Anything anybody noticed?
This is Veranda. I noticed that we neglected to thank the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department in the course of the meeting, and I found out later how important they had been. And so I'd just like to have them be included in the record of people we wanted to acknowledge.
Okay, thank you. I think what we'll do, Veranda, is add that to this set of minutes and not amend the last minutes.
That's
okay.
fine, Zahn. I just wanted it to be remembered.
Okay, very good, very good. Yes, we all want to thank the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department. All right, seeing no other issues, I'll take the roll call to approve those minutes. We'll start with Tara.
Aye.
Rusty.
Aye.
Veranda.
Aye.
Michael?
Hi.
And Zahn says aye, so those are passed. Thank you very kindly. All right, we'll move on next to the updates and reports. This is the part of the meeting in which we hear from folks in town that are either directly inside the government, like the Highway Department, or we hear from our closely related agencies. And tonight we'll be hearing from DB Fiber, but let's start with the highway update from Dan.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. Our new tractor came last week, and you will see the warrant that we're paying for it tonight. We're out grading roads, doing our normal. pulling snow plows off the truck, trying to get them cleaned up, changing tires. I do have a proposal. I would like to go to a single source vendor. I have a bridge over on Briggs Road. It's a pressure treated, that it needs to be redone. And I had Bernard's go out, measure it up, because I want to do a concrete slab. And he's done 3 or 4 of them for me. And it's right here for not to exceed $30,000. And he'll build it at his shop. And then they'll truck it over, rip the old one out, set this one on, and this one will be, already have guardrails on it. So he'll be doing the guardrails on it. So, and it'd be a one-time, once we do it, we won't have to ever deck it again. I mean, it'd be concrete.
Oh, I see what you
Yeah, it's gonna be a concrete.
That.
Yeah, and he's done 3 on Hale Road for me that same way, so.
Feel good on that. Okay.
And they are down working on Jelly Mill Road Bridge. Actually, they got quite a bit done today when I was down there this morning. I didn't realize I knew they were coming in, but I didn't think they'd get going at it so fast, but they're gaining ground quick, so.
Okay, good. All right.
That's, the price is right there for $30,000, not to exceed.
So I think we need to, if I'm correct, I think we need to, the board needs to first opt to go with a single source vendor.
Yep.
Because our practice, the policy requires us to outside bids, but we can in special occasions.
Yes, so we've done it, but the other ones we've done before he was single source.
Okay.
And he's not out to try to,
Okay.
you know.
All right. So let's take care of that first, if you don't mind.
Yep,
Is there anything there that we can go on further if we need to? So, Select Board, I will move, just to get this on the table, I will move that that the Select Board opts to go with a single source vendor for this potential contract. And so I'd like a second to that idea so we can talk about it.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. So, Tara, the way this works by our policy is that we have a policy that all bids over a certain dollar amount, I don't remember what it is.
30,000.
Over 30,000. Okay, so we're right on the money.
No, wait, it's over,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think it's quite a bit lower.
15, I think.
15.
I think it's 25.
25.
25,000. Okay, so over a certain number, and this exceeds it, that the town policy is that we would put jobs out to bid. However, there are reasons why we might select to go with a single source vendor. In this case, as Danny just explained, we've used this vendor before for similar type projects. We like the work they're doing, and so there's reason for us to choose to do it rather than go through the bidding process, but to go with a single source vendor. So,
Okay, what was that number again? Did we decide 25,000?
I
Number
You think it's 2,500?
thought it was,
I think it's,
I have it here.
Here, what is it?
I think it's 2,500.
2,500, I think.
yeah, it's a considerably lower
Here it
number.
is.
2,500.
Yeah, yes, $2,500, so anything over 2,500. This amount is 30,000 for this project. So it would, by our policy, in any case, no matter what number we're gonna find, it would normally require us to go out to bid. But because of the circumstances of this particular vendor, having worked with them and the quality of their work, we are then choosing to use a single source vendor.
Okay,
Or at least that's what we're considering with this motion.
okay.
Now, I'm sorry, can I make comments or?
About the motion to a single source vendor, yes.
Yeah, I heard the term not to exceed, so I'm interested to know if the cost could potentially be less
That, it could be,
than 30,000?
at least, it won't exceed the 30,000.
Okay, so all right.
But he'll send in an estimate and then we'll approve it?
We have an estimate right here this evening, which
Yeah.
we'll be talking about in a moment, okay, first.
Okay.
So first,
Just got it.
let's see if if the board is willing to go with a single source vendor in this case. So
Okay.
is there any other discussion about that at the select board level? Anything in the community, anybody wants to say anything here? All right, I think I'll go ahead and ask folks to vote. Let's start with Miranda.
Aye.
Rusty,
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
All right, Michael?
Aye.
And John says aye. All right, so we will be going with the single source vendor for this bid. Now, the bid that we're looking at here is from Renault Brothers, and it's to repair the Briggs bridge. And the estimate is for $30,000, not to exceed $30,000, and it's described as Danny described it. So I would move that we support this work.
I can add here.
Let's take a second first, and then we'll get right to you. All right?
I'll
Veranda?
second it.
Thank you, Veranda. All right,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Oh, just that the
You're-
$30,000 will be coming from the highway reserve.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a clarification, just so we're all clear in the community, that the $30,000 would come from the highway reserve fund. So there's money to pay for this. It's not as if we're adding this to the budget unexpectedly. Okay? We need to add in Rick's aid work. All right, is there any other discussion? Michael?
I guess I'm curious, can I ask a couple of questions? One thing I'd like to know is it
It'll be all. state.
engineered
It'll be, state, it has to be.
and stamped
Yeah,
by
it'll be
licensed
state
engineer?
spec, yeah.
Okay,
The last one they did, it'd be all reinforced with rod and the whole, everything, so.
and then,
Because they won't build nothing without being, because they're gonna be liable if something happens, so.
do you know if epoxy coated rebar is?
I'm sure that's what
Part of
it'll be, yeah.
It's up to code.
It'll be all up to code.
Okay.
And it'll probably take them, because they'll build it right at their shop, and then they'll truck it in, and they'll bring a crane in, and then they'll take the old one out, set this one on, and then go from there, as far as the guardrails and stuff like that. And if you want to see what one looks like, there's 3 of them over on Hale Road he did,
I
so.
think I've driven over that, yeah.
So three bridges on Hale Road being constructed or have been
Yeah,
constructed.
with the same type of, there used to be a corrugated deck, and we got rid of them and put a slab on them.
Can I say something?
Further questions?
Sure, Tara?
So we know that they do good work and that they're reasonable, and they're experienced. And they would also help us out in an emergency if we repeatedly use them. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the estimate.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion on the floor, so we're good there. So it's good to
Okay.
have a comment, Tara. That's great. Yeah, that's okay. So, it takes all the, it's all there. Any other comments here at the select board?
No,
I was just curious, this is Veranda. I was just curious about what they do with the old one.
The other one is pressure treated, they'll dispose of it.
Okay,
They'll get rid of it. So it's, all it is pressure treated 4x4s or 6x4s.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's part of their deal, they gotta get rid of it, so.
All right, here's a question.
So I guess I can't ask questions, so I'll put this in the
Well,
form
you
of a
can make-
statement.
If you ask a question, we won't answer it, but we'll.
The board of the highway department might consider it for recycling. I wonder if it wouldn't be good for a bridge for, a local resident across one of our creeks or something like that, rather than landfilling it. I don't need it or want it, but I just wonder if even a Facebook post.
Some of them are in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, but, still a farmer across the creek or something like that might be good. I mean, I don't know, I haven't,
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta strip that bridge.
Want to have them get rid of it.
but rather than landfilling,
Yeah.
get reuse.
Well, let's, how about we just, let's do it this way, maybe that we'll be in touch with Danny about that idea, and maybe we can see if there's an easy way to do it. If it's too complicated, we'll just move on.
It's gonna come out in pieces.
But it's a great idea for the future to think about.
It's just a
when other things
suggestion.
like that come up, yeah.
Consider it.
Would there be liability if we gave wood to somebody?
What was that?
I didn't, say it once again, Rusty.
Would there be liability if we gave a Ford and say they built a bridge and broke it? Would we be
Yeah.
liable?
We probably have to, we'll have to look into this, because I'm sure we can't do anything by which we would be liable, so we need to be very careful about that,
That's why I just want the contractor just to get.
yeah, that's right. Okay, I think we're working that one through as we speak, good. Okay, anything else to report, Dan?
No, they're over there working on Jelly Mill, we've been grading roads, like I said, trying to get caught up, so, and we're still gonna be chipping brush for quite some time, so. This week, we're gonna work on, I got trucks I gotta service and try to get some roads graded, and then we'll go back to chipping brush again, so.
Steve?
Just to Steve Lemke, Green River, just two random comments. Maybe whoever wants a bridge could contact Renault Brothers after it's taken away. Then the town doesn't have anything to do with it. And still, if they want to dispose of it by giving it to somebody, Merry Christmas. But the other thing that I would say is that per conversation I had with Danny prior to the meeting, the Jelly Mill Road bridge will not be closed. It'll be one lane, but it won't have a full closure. So anybody who lives down there or is going that way, you can't get through.
Still get home. Okay, thanks, Steve.
They're
That's
supposed to
good.
do half of
Have a
it.
grant update. Highway, it's about the highway.
Oh, okay, that's, so Eric has a comment here about grant update.
Yep, so, I submitted 2 preliminary grant applications to Vtrans. One of them is a structures grant for the Fitch Road Bridge, and these are both gonna be for next fiscal year, right, Danny? Yep, fiscal year '24. So that's a big one. And then the second one is a grant for about 2 miles of Weatherhead Hollow from ER Road down to Baker Cross Road. And we're just waiting to find out if those will be funded by Vtrans or partially funded.
Okay, so you'll keep us updated.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Erica, that's great work.
And I also had, the same day we went and looked at that slab, we went down and looked at Fitch Road Bridge, because I needed some kind of estimate what a new
There.
bridge is gonna cost.
Yeah,
So he gave me the ballpark figure on what.
to use for
yes.
the application.
Yeah.
I see, okay. All right, good. Tying that all in, good. All right, thank you. A lot of good work continuing here in town with our roads and bridges. Let's move on now to to another report. This one will be from DB Fiber. It's a report from Jason Black. Jason, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation to come over and speak to you all and provide you an update. And just to give you some background on myself, I live on Coolidge Highway. Been a resident here since 2019. I've been working with the DB Fiber Governing Board since last year. I'm also a member of the Communications Committee. So I get to hear a little bit of everything. I get to hear the strategy, executive conversations take place at the governing board, but also the messaging and how we're adapting and communicating out to the whole communities. DB Fiber is an organization that is reaching multiple towns in what we call a CUD of our district. So it does factor into conversations happening in Marlboro and Reedsboro and Vernon across multiple townships of the southern part of the state. So I am a volunteer, I'm not a paid employee, so I want to make sure state that up front.
Thank you.
And it's a great opportunity to work with some people up there. So I've got a background in communications and information technology, so allow me to do a little bit of everything in this role representing Guilford. And one of the reasons why it was so important to me to be part of this group and to take advantage of the opportunity is I'm also a 100% remote worker. I work out of my house down on Route 5, so I rely on broadband for everything that I do. So for me, this is an opportunity for us to look at a broadband model that is rather unique for our region. We really are looking towards a public utility style model, working throughout the state with Vermont community broadband. And for our anticipation of how this is going to be building out is it's very long term. A lot of times you work with the commercial organizations, the commercial companies like Xfinity or Infineon, Consolidated. They have a different sort of mindset about how broadband impacts a community. We're aiming to support the unserved and the underserved with reliable, affordable, and sustainable technology. That doesn't come easy. It has a lot of challenges, But I'm hoping, happy to report tonight, there's been some good progress that's been made since myself came on board working with those individuals. A lot of the first part of my time frame working with them has been on the actual organizational development, getting an executive director, building out these boards and committees, finding and resourcing all the different parts of what this project entails, everything from websites to identifying who the vendors are, looking at resource materials, and looking for opportunities where folks like myself, other alternates like Lynn, other members of different parts of the communities and the CUD can get out and talk to people and start answering questions about this. I had a chance to come down for town meeting day and hand out some of our first brochures. That was a big win for us because we actually have things that put in people's hands now with some basic information. So the word is starting to get out there. So this was a good timing to be able to come in and hopefully give you some perspective on kind of where things are headed. So the first pilot group came online in Reedsboro the end of last year. We're just now at the end of this quarter, so I understand what their feedback looks like, what issues they ran into. All that's being mined and looked at by the governing board, and looking forward to how that feedback is going to help us transition and help other communities as they come online down the road. DV Fiber has completed 100 miles of power poles already, and basically that's the one piece of the infrastructure to make it ready for fiber to enter onto those poles. That's a really kind of a big deal for us. The net project is also fully funded for construction of 400 miles of the network for each of the first two phases, along with parts of phase 3, which will also be built through that same initial funding. We're registered with the FCC as an ISP, Internet Service Provider. Very critical, because now that means that we're available, community members will be accessible to subsidies for helping to support paying for their programs. So we had to have that initial FCC sign off in order to make those programs available to the community. Vermont Community Broadband as a statewide organization is assisting us in advising each phase of the CUD mapping, helping us understand where our most unserved and underserved areas are in the maps. DV Fiber is very much dependent on residents' location as far as how the rollout's going to take place. Where everyone lives on the map makes a huge difference in how long you'll be waiting for the service. This is not a project that has a luxury of being one town at a time. It really is multiple towns that be happening all at the same time, which is some really unique challenges for an implementation plan. And there likely will be times where parts of Guilford could be online while other parts are not online because of the way that rollout is taking place. For the communications committee perspective, key improvement for us is not only the brochures we're able to hand out and the postcards that are being produced, but the new website that's been being enhanced. By the end of this month, we hope we'll be able to have that enhancement in place so people can start to look at their addresses and get an understanding whether their town or their location is being served, and also information about when they will be served with the service down the road. So that's another key component of this is how we communicate what the organization is doing to the community members. As a member of the governing board, I can attest to the commitment the organization has to this public utility model for broadband, and making sure that we're providing this universal service throughout the entire grid of the state. Clearly, it's not an easy task. It's going to take time, but these key steps that I've been outlining are kind of the beginning pieces of the puzzle here for us by procuring materials for resources and understanding what our message is and how we start to differentiate ourselves from the other companies that are in this space. Obviously, I can't get into the details of a lot of what we're doing because there is some confidentiality to that, but I can say that we're very close to signing on with a contractual infrastructure partner, which is a big piece of this. So we actually can start to look at a roadmap in the next 6 to 12 months of where the vendor is going to come in and start actually wiring those poles that we mentioned. So there's a lot of things that have been happening relatively quickly over the last, particularly since February to this month. I mentioned that the website is a key feature is there too. So right now, the biggest question I'm sure a lot of people have been asking, and I answered this question as well too when I was at town meeting day with the folks that came to the table, is when, how is this going to affect me? And it's a really difficult answer to provide because there's so many things that are still to come. And it's difficult when you're in an environment you see that this stuff is available in different forms in different areas, but we have to say that, well, we don't partner with those areas, so we really are developing something brand new. So our roadmap is going to be a little bit more time consuming to get to that first stage where that first customer in Guilford will be signed up. But the advice we're providing people right now is to think of this as something to become within 18 months, possibly up to 24 months, but within an 18-month window, that's kind of what we're looking at right now, with obviously the goal to be much sooner than that. But we want to be realistic with individuals. And when people ask about, should I sign on to Fidium or should I use a different service? The advice that Steve and John and myself have been sharing is, to think of this as not a long-term commitment. Think about, if you need to get that service that's available to you and it's affordable to you, take advantage of it. But don't forget that this is coming around the corner. And there is that key advantage of being a truly Vermont utility approach that you'll get the benefit of when we're available in those communities. So very important we continue that message and make sure that folks like myself and Steve and John and the other members of DB Fiber's governing board are getting out into the community. Stephen came down actually for Sarah Coffey's meeting on Saturday. I'm hoping to do more of those things in town as we get to the nicer weather. We'll kind of get out and get together and just have more question and answer sessions. And as we have updates, continue to provide the select board, of course, with those updates for sending out to the community. So as I said, the key point of this is that Guilford's looking at best about 18 to 20 months, but everyone working for a contract in DB Fiber are looking at all possible ways to expedite that construction. When the firmer timeline is in place, we'll be sending it out to the public. And again, going to dbfiber.net, signing up for our newsletter, you'll get the first information as things start to come up. You'll know when the website gets updated. You'll know when other updates come play, particularly to the aspects of the project that we're able to reveal. You can also see all the members of the governing board, all the committees are in place. We do have public meetings as well, like you do here. The calendar is on our website as well. If anyone wishes to attend and ask questions to the full committees, you can certainly do that. And happy to try to answer some questions or gather some questions if there is any discussion.
Well, thank you. It's great. Thank you for your work there. I did that for a couple of years, so I'm really thrilled to be here now. Yeah. Do we have any questions from the select board? I'd like to hear this report. Michael?
Thank you so much for getting involved. Really appreciate
No,
it.
it's been my pleasure. And it really is an exciting opportunity for this whole community here. Yes, I do have a stake in it because I'm looking for that improvement for my own work from home environment. But as someone who is still a new resident, the prospect of seeing this happen in play and being part of it is very rewarding because we don't see this in every community, in every state. Where I was came from before, there was no thought about this. You were locked into a certain set of options, and now we're really developing our own options, our own path.
One of the things I really liked too was the fact that the Vermonters were really putting this package together, figuring this out, and so it's really it really feels like it's a really well-owned situation if it comes out right. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve.
Just another side comment, the executive director of DB Fiber as of last September is Gabby Trefeda from Guilford.
Yes,
So
she is. Yes,
there's
thank
a
you for
pretty
mentioning that.
pretty good knowledge there on the
Yeah.
Guilford side as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're well represented.
It's great too that what I like about one of the aspects I really like about that is because of Gabby's work with the Regional Commission, she has the same kind of overview about a broader region, just as DB Fiber is having as well. So she can bring that kind of awareness and thought process to her thinking, which is great. It's not asking someone to kind of spring up from a community into this bigger project. So, all right, are there any other comments, questions?
Oh, I have one.
Yes, Fernando.
I was at Sarah Coffey's BBCC meeting, and Stephen John was talking about the durability of the fiber, and that was a real comfort to me, having just come through, our massive outage, or what felt like a massive outage here, to learn about the durability of the fiber that they're using and its resilience in terms of withstanding storms.
Yes, that's great. We're building for the future.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks very much. We'll move ahead now. We're going to go to the next part of the agenda, which is old business. This is material that the select board has already addressed in one fashion or another. The first item of business under old business is the personnel policy. We have a final version that the select board has had time to review individually and look at. We've been looking at it collectively, but we have the final version now. And we could approve that personnel policy this evening, adopt it, I guess I would say. So I think just to expedite things, I'll move that we adopt this policy tonight if we're comfortable with that. Could we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. All right, is there any conversation here at the select board? Veranda.
Yeah, I just wanted to assure people that once it's adopted, the personnel policy will be posted, won't it, on our new improved website?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's worth also noting that I think this policy it's not really been altered in a big way by the select board. It's been altered mainly by updating it and bringing it up to speed with VLCT's guidance, as well as our own legal counsel took a pretty deep look at it and brought it and tightened it up to make it more in keeping with the current standards across the state. We'll be addressing a little bit later a drug and alcohol policy that once was part of the personnel policy and now is a separate, we'll pull it out. It's being pulled out of the personnel policy and will become a separate policy that we'll look at this evening. So any other comments from the select board? Any comments in the community? All right, I think we'll move ahead then. I will ask that the motion is to adopt this personnel policy. So Veranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And Zom says aye. All done. Good work. It's also worth noticing, as was mentioned, we do have a new website up. We've updated our website, trying to just generally update and tighten things up and make things, we try to be responsive to comments from the community. But what I want to point out is that there are a number of policies that you can see on our website, and those are consistently reviewed by the select board over in a kind of circular fashion. They're not all looked at every single year, but we keep those in front of us at all times. So this will go up, this new policy will replace the one that's currently there, and then people will have access to it there. All right, the second point of business tonight in old business is we had been keeping folks up to speed about the date for the Herron versus Select Board hearing at the Supreme Court. And I just want to let people know that I think that's May 3rd. May 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you. At 9 o'clock in the morning. And I just say, to be very clear here with the community, that the way it's proceeding at the Supreme Court, we're being advised by our legal expertise, our counselors, that this case will be heard not by the full Supreme Court, though there was a request that it be heard by the full court, and that request was denied. We did not make that request. It was a request on the part of Jason Herron to be heard by the full court. So the way it will work is it will be heard by an abbreviated part of the court in this online fashion. Now, there's also the possibility that there can be a request to be an in-person hearing. We will not make that request, but it's still possible that that might be made. So at the moment, the date for that hearing online is May the 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the public can go to that hearing online only, and the public will not be part of the proceedings, but can witness those. So we will probably put that information on our website so that people can, if they choose to see it, they can look at it and see how it works. So there's no in-person presence possible even by the plaintiff or the or our legal representatives. So there you have that. Okay, now we'll move on to the next order of business. Under new business, these are issues that the Select Board has not addressed so far. We'll look first at Planning Commission appointments. The Select Board a while ago, I don't remember exactly when, opted to increase the size of the Planning Commission from 5 members to 7. The Planning Commission has now made a recommendation to us for 2 new members, and we will be considering that this evening. So the recommendation from the Planning Commission comes from them. They conducted a procedure and have asked us to consider appointing Christina Belagore and Marty Ramsberg to fill out the other positions on the Planning Commission. So is there a motion to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation? Veranda. All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Well, let's give that one to
Sure.
Tara. Okay,
Absolutely.
Tara. All right, is there any conversation among the Select Board members here?
Could you just
Well,
repeat?
go ahead.
Sorry, Veranda. Can you repeat Marty's last name for me?
Ramsberg, it's Ramsburg.
Thank you.
Yes, Veranda.
Yes, I'm just grateful to have, these engaged people stepping up and helping us move the Planning Commission's broad work to the next phase.
Yeah, I am as well, Veranda. I would like to say that there was a process that the commission used. I was involved in that because I'm the liaison, so I can speak to the notion that there were a number of people that were both considered and actually, expressed interest in the process. And thus we come to these 2 recommendations for the commission. Is there any comment in the community? Steve?
Phrase this as a statement.
Yes.
I would like to know as a statement, how many that brings the full commission to?
Oh, it will bring, it will bring it to 7. Okay. Yeah. It will bring it to 7. I should say that as part of our appointment process at the very first meeting after the town meeting, we appointed already Nathaniel Mathiasen to the Planning Commission to take Michael Sostak's place. Michael Sostak had a 1-year term and he stepped away. So Nathaniel Mathiasen will come on as well. I think that's how Matheson, I'm not sure how he says it. All right, let's vote then. We'll vote, check with Veranda first.
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
Michael?
Hi.
And Zon says aye. So good, thank you all. We'll welcome Christina and Marty to the Planning Commission, as well as Nathaniel. And we'll let Jeanette know as chair of the Planning Commission of their good work and that we approve of that. So there we go. All right, next order of business under the new business is the consideration of a drug and alcohol policy, which was formerly part of, as I said earlier, was formerly part of the personnel policy, but now is being recommended to us that we pull it out and make it its own separate policy for the entire town and not just for personnel engaged here by the Select Board. So we need to get it onto the table. We need a motion to adopt, I guess would be the thing.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Michael. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there any conversation here that we need to have?
I was curious about on what advice it was based to separate the drug and alcohol policy.
I'm not sure if I know if I can speak to that. We might have to take that as a question for it.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not sure that I don't think I can speak to that. It's just that I think there's a trend in personnel policies to pull them out so they become more like a statement. It's more a policy for whoever's engaged in the town. It's a kind of policy that we can hold up about drug and alcohol issues in our community.
Okay, thanks.
I had to do a training on it
I guess.
for the drug and alcohol. They come over here one day and had to do a 2-hour training.
Okay.
So if you're suspicious of, if you have an employee that looks kind of glassy-eyed or whatever.
Okay. Great.
So VLCT and our attorneys have also reviewed this
Yes.
policy and
Thank
any
you.
suggestions they make have been integrated.
Okay,
into
so
the policy.
Erica is saying that VLCT and our lawyers looked at the drug and alcohol policy as it's recommended and made and made recommendations and brought it to the level where it is now. Those have been integrated into the policy. I see a comment from Connie Burton.
May I ask a question and not do a comment? I'm just curious, has the select board reviewed this policy and discussed it? And if so, when was it discussed? And because it just seems to me as though rather than just voting, yes, it should be something that you guys approve of.
Thank you, Connie. I'll just say quickly that we have not discussed it except right now. That's what we're doing right now. The select board we have all individually seen this policy presented to us as part of our preparations for tonight's meeting. So, but we're not at liberty, of course, to discuss it, and so until tonight. Tonight's our first time. Tara.
So if we're gonna break out individual policies from the grand personnel policy, I'm assuming that every town employee or representative is gonna have to re-sign. And if we're gonna do the drug and alcohol policy, the other big one is sexual harassment. And why not break that out too?
That's a good point. I thought of that as well, Tara, and I think we should probably check with that and follow up with that and see if there's a reason to do that. I mean,
And with sexual harassment also goes like bullying, it's kind of like hand in hand.
harassment, just.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Dan?
We do have a sexual,
It's
correct?
It's part
Yes.
of the personnel policy.
Right.
We've done training. Every now and then, the insurance company will come in and give us a training on what to say and not to say, whatever. So
Yeah, I don't know if it's,
we haven't had one in quite a while. It'd probably be a good thing to get them down here and do it again.
let me just look and see real quick here. One second.
Here, I have this personal policy.
I was just seeing if we had a. We currently do not have a sexual harassment or any kind of harassment policy, so,
Well.
except as part of the
Yeah.
personnel policy, yes. Okay.
Which is, I'm sure within that, insurance companies are very thorough. So we can look over the harassment policy. And I think that we should discuss that together. And like I said, it's another real big ticket item. So if somebody wants us to make a policy for the other, I think it's really important to do this as well.
Okay. Well, let's put that on the docket to keep track of, all right? I think we can see if it needs to go forward. I think it's a good idea. Are we ready this evening? Is there any other discussion here? Are we ready to adopt the policy, this drug and alcohol policy, as we've seen it in our folders? We have, it's on the floor, so any further discussion? All right, I will take the roll for adoption. Veranda,
Aye.
Rusty,
Aye.
Tara,
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zahn says aye. Okay, so that is adopted this evening. Thank you. The next order of business tonight is, under new business, is an IT contract report. The select board.
See you all later.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Dan.
The select board has seen, again, this is another report that's in our folder about a process that we're going through for IT consulting. We originally handed a contract to one person, and we altered that and transferred that IT contract then to what's his name?
John Mingle.
John Minkle. And he's currently involved with that, but we're going to listen to Erica for just a second. Tell us about this, just so we're all in the committee know what's going on.
So the scope of John's work is there's several moving pieces in it, but he is inventorying the computers and the IT in the town office, our cybersecurity situation, which is an ongoing concern. And he's just helping with a lot of deferred maintenance, let's call it, that just needed to be done. And he's doing an excellent job so far. I think he's spent several days here in the office so far, and he can also, going forward, do some work remotely, which is great. We have a running list of tasks to do that involve, everything from passwords to cloud backups and storage, things like that. He estimates, that the whole project that we gave him in one lump, he expected to take about 50 to 75 hours. And I think he's done at least half of that, I'm not sure. But he's really doing an excellent job, and he's really gotten to know how our systems are working here, so I think he's an excellent choice for this work.
Okay, so I guess we need to do this is the first contract we're actually extending to him? Or did we?
Yes,
we did not transfer, did we?
Well, I don't know if there's another one.
Okay.
I think this is just the original one for his.
Okay.
For his,
All right, so we need to do the same thing here, which would be the sole source, or is it over? It would be right about $2,500, I think, as I recall. Potentially 2,500 or maybe a little bit more. So I think we need to do the same thing here, which is to consider the sole source again, not open this up to the public. That's an option again that we have. Are people comfortable? Let's do that. So we'll do this in two motions. We'll first consider whether we can offer the contract to John as a sole source vendor. And then we will, if that passes, then we will consider whether or not we can offer John a contract for the work going forward. So let's get a motion on the floor first for using a sole source vendor in this case.
I'll make the motion.
Do that.
All right, Michael, thank you. Veranda, will you second?
Yeah.
Veranda,
Yes.
would you? Yes, you'll second. Okay. All right. Is there any discussion here? Just a second, Veranda, I will say that when we offered the contract first, the first person we offered it to was Marjorie Ray, and that was also a sole source situation. So we're essentially transferring We've already begun transferring the work, now we need to transfer the contract. So that's, it's a similar situation in both of these. Yes, Miranda.
Sheila had prior work experience with him, and she sent the select board a report on his experience and also his capacity to do this work that will stay done.
Yeah. Any other comments here at the select board about sole source? All right, I think I will take the vote for that. Miranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
Michael? Aye. And John says aye. So, all right, well, we're going to move with the sole source vendor in this case, once again, in the same situation. Now, we have the contract that we've all been able to read in our folder. Are we able to have a motion for that, to extend the contract to John?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tara. Any discussion here at the select board? I will say that I think that as I read the report, I was very impressed, not only with the work that he's already done, but the confidence that he'll give the town about a number of issues that in our IT department. There's a lot of deferred issues that need to be addressed, and he seems very systematic and very sure-footed around all of these various issues, and that will set us into a much stronger position, I think, a more secure position than we were prior. So I'm heartened by this.
Chair?
Oh, yes.
If there isn't already a town IT policy that's part of the existing personnel policy, it would be nice, I think it would be highly recommended for Mr. Minkle to review the IT policy on how to use the proper use of the computers for the town and other things. This is not as big as some of the other ones we were talking about, but it's the one that usually surfaces quickly.
Yeah.
There are parts of the personnel policy that do hit on those issues, Steve. Like use of town computers and use of communications like email and social media.
You might want to just see what VLCT recommends.
Yeah, that would probably be good to just make sure that we've got everything covered. Okay, good. And I see Tara's hand.
I just haven't had time to research it, but are there standard operating procedures? Like, I think like an IT policy would be more, don't use your telephone during working hours. And how do you turn the computer on is more of a standard operating procedure policy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that we have any, we should check with VLCT again.
SOPs.
Yeah, I don't know if there are standard policies or standards, I guess is what you're getting at.
Procedures, like
Yeah.
if somebody needed to turn the computers on for some reason and somebody else wasn't there, is there a book that says this is what you do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, we definitely don't have that.
Okay.
We probably have elements of it.
We do have elements of that in the town office. There are.
And I wouldn't expect, the public to come in and be in the office without somebody that works there, so.
Well, we can also I can speak from personal experience that there have been several meetings where I probably could have used a book to help us get through meetings, just because there wasn't information.
Maybe we can talk about that a little bit more. If you're in here and it's an emergency situation or something, how do you turn the computers on?
Right. Exactly. Where's the modem? During the power outage, right. You had to think of turning it back on. All right, yeah, all of that. Good. Getting a note about that. Yeah. About the idea that we'll follow up there.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, now I've already forgotten if we haven't voted on that yet.
That's right.
Okay. So, we have this IT contract in front of us now. So I will take the roll call and see if we can approve it. Oh, sorry, there's a comment. Yes.
In the form of a question, but doesn't need to be answered, but are there times when the public should be using town computers? If not, I would think that would be in the IT policy when, or if not in the policy.
Okay, that actually is probably a good frequently asked question. Are there times that that town computers would be available to the public?
For doing research.
Yeah, for
Here.
research,
Yeah.
and looking at deeds and things like that, or list issues, Okay, thank you. We'll get that one, an answer to that.
And security around that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so Veranda.
Aye.
All right, Rusty?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. All right, thank you. All right, folks, we are now to the point of the meeting in which we will address the warrants. Veranda, are you prepared where you are?
Prepared. Yes, I am. Thank you. I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week 4/2/23 with a sum of $6,877.57. Payroll week 4/9/23 for the sum of $9,506.24. Expense warrant number 2319 for the sum of $184,544.29 for a grand total of $200,928.10.
I will second that. Is there any comment, Veranda?
Yes, there is. Okay, so details. The Kubota tractor approved at the 3/13/23 meeting is in there. The select board, that tractor has arrived. The retail price was $183,101.34 plus delivery fees. We traded in a John Deere mower for $25,000, leaving a total of $158,645.17. Other than that, we have a $2,719.41 charge for diesel fuel from Barrows and Fisher. From Cargill, we have $2,832.44 for salt. From Mitchell Materials, we have for Mitchell Materials, we have $5,278.98 for sand. So those are the big ticket items.
Thank you. I think it's also worth noting, just for Tara, just so you know, that Tara, sometimes as you look at the payroll numbers, they're generally consistent, but sometimes they're not, like this time. Can you explain why they're different this time, Erica? Is it because we've added new people to the payroll at this point? Do you know?
Overtime?
Could be overtime?
Yes, there was overtime on the week of the storm.
Yeah, like three weeks ago, when there was overtime in that big storm, there was a huge jump.
Okay,
so I understand that. Thank you.
Okay, all right, okay.
It was Sheila and me.
Okay, so at the same time.
Dual people holding the same position, so it's possible that's something.
Okay. All right, let's see, we need to we need to authorize payment of these warrants. They've been moved and seconded, so Veranda,
Aye.
Rusty,
Aye.
Tara,
Aye.
Michael? Aye. And Zon says aye. All right, thank you, Veranda, for that. Now we move on to other business. We have we have one item under this, which is our annual financial plan and town highways. And so probably Eric is going to speak to us about that.
So, yeah, this is something that we submit to Vtrans annually around this time of year. And very helpful, Megan Brunk at Vtrans assisted with filling out this form, and it just attests to our budget. They separate it into winter budget and non-winter budget. We have maintenance for both of those seasons, plus we have lines for paving and bridges this year for a total of $1,131,000. $131,149,000. And that is just, it's a budget that we submit to Vtrans. That's really all it's for.
And it's based on the budget that the town has already approved.
Yes, it is, and it's for fiscal year 2024, and this is so that we can apply for grants towards these.
Yeah, hence these.
Yep.
So we need to accept this report and sign it. So, is that correct? We need to confirm that it's been done, and
Yeah,
okay.
it just needs to be signed.
All right, so I'll move to confirm this report and that we're submitting it to the state. Have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I'll give that to Rusty. All right, is there any discussion about that? It's pro forma pretty much, so I think we can go right ahead, but. All right, and I'll just say it again, the budget, this that we're submitting to the state is based on the budget that the town approved at town meeting for the highway department. And it enables us to get, to apply for grants and various other programs associated with, so they just keep the double registration. Okay, I will take the roll. Veranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
Michael? Aye. Azan says aye. All right, folks, thank you very much. We will move on to communications. I don't think there were any this time. All right, yeah. I don't think there were any communications that we need to, that were to the select board. So we'll keep an eye on those for next time. I do need to read through the actions from the previous meeting so they're on the record. So we approved the minutes of 3/13/23. We approved the Jelly Mill Bridge repair. We disbanded the ARPA Advisory Committee. We accepted a letter to submit to Vtrans regarding Algiers. We adopted the town plan as amended. We approved road and bridge standards, and we approved the warrants. In this meeting today, apart from approving the minutes and the warrants, we also approved an action to repair the bridge. Well, I guess we did two things. We chose to go, we approved going with the sole source vendor related to the Briggs Road Bridge repair, and then we adopted or moved to have that work done. We adopted a personnel policy, an updated personnel policy. We accepted and approved 2 new appointments to the Planning Commission, bringing the total to 7. We adopted a new drug and alcohol policy, and we approved an IT contract to move forward for the town's IT issues. All right. Those are the actions that were taken tonight. We have a few things, actions to be taken. We have a few things, I won't detail those, but we have a few items that I've written down, and I'll talk with Erica that we need to follow up on for the next, just as we go forward. Is there anything else to come before us this evening? If not, I would take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, Rusty, thank you. Is there a second? Veranda. All right. Thank you, Veranda, thank you all for checking in from your various locales, and I'm glad I made it back from my other locale, got here in time. So, all right, we'll take the roll to adjourn. Veranda.
Aye.
Rusty.
Aye.
Tara.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. Thank you all very kindly. This meeting is adjourned. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.